Hey guys, welcome to the Quarter Twins podcast, episode 9. Did you like that little laughing intro? That was supernatural. Today's episode is a little odd because we're time travelers.
We are.
We traveled to the past on Tuesday and recorded. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday already?
It was Wednesday, I think.
It was Wednesday. That's great.
Yeah.
It might have been. I think it was Tuesday. It doesn't.
It could have
really
been
matter.
It could have been either one. Honestly.
We recorded the first half of this podcast with a guest of our episode today, Bryan Zerr. We talk about him and his favorite movie. It's very exciting, very fun. You'll get to hear all about it. Today, Friday the 27th, we will be recording the second half of the podcast, talking about the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new Disney Plus Star Wars TV show.
Wow.
It's all very exciting. It's all very fun. We talk about recording the Obi-Wan piece and putting it before in the Bryan Zerr past piece of this episode, but it does not occur first. It will occur last.
Yes.
So that you guys don't have to worry about spoilers because this audio is coming out the day of the release of those episodes. We don't want to rush you to watch. It just makes it easier for you guys to listen to Bryan, who did an amazing job. Let's all give a round of applause for Bryan. What a guy. So yeah, that's the intro, but we got other stuff to talk about real quick here at the beginning, at the top. We had new Disney Plus released some higher quality images of She-Hulk the other day. Looks a little bit better, looks a little bit more grainy, like actual skin, which is great. We will see. It's still, regardless of how good or bad she ends up looking, it doesn't really speak to how good or bad the show will be at the end. So
that's fair.
We'll be watching that show for sure, making sure that they make a good show. We'll see. Let's see.
We'll see.
But also, I just watched the Andor trailer, which is another Star Wars TV show that we get for the Skywalker saga, because they just can't stop. And we'll see.
I mean, it's not really like Skywalker, but it's in that period of time.
Sure.
Between the prequels and the original trilogy. With a character that I had zero interest in, and I knew that they were making the show, and I had just just the lowest of expectations, the lowest amount of hype. I was not interested in the slightest to see a Cassian Andor series, but the trailer looks pretty good. I was like,
might just be
good. This looks pretty dope.
You never know.
It's a good trailer.
Yeah. So it looks like we got a little bit of it with Solo, where we kind of get away from the light side and the dark side and the Force and all that stuff. And we kind of get closer to the Star Wars of it all, right? And we've had wars with clones and droids and stuff, but this is like the Galactic Civil War. We got people versus people. I hope that it's, a little more visceral. I feel like...
Yeah.
And I really, if Boba Fett or Mando or Obi-Wan show up, I'm not gonna like it. I just want this to be its own thing.
He's not a fan.
I just want it to be cool. I want it to be a standalone thing. So hopefully we can reach that level of Star Wars, and then we can see that it will work, and if it's good and standalone, then we can be like, hey guys, make something from before or after Skywalker, because that would be super dope.
That would be nice. They did announce, so they have Andor, there's Ahsoka, there's Rogue Squadron, There's
Skeleton Crew. Did you see that?
the Skeleton Crew just got announced.
Starring Jude
That's
Law. My mom
yeah.
loves Jude Law.
Sherry loves Jude Law, so we'll have to tune into that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a lot
And
of stuff going on the Disney Plus.
yeah,
No films announced, I don't believe, which
no.
is it's I don't know how I feel about it because the last film they made, I did not like, The Rise of Skywalker,
It's bad.
and they've been. I really love The Mandalorian, and I'm like meh on Boba Fett, and we'll talk about Obi-Wan here in
I'm
a
pro
little bit.
Boba Fett.
I'm anti Boba Fett. He's pro Boba Fett. We'll talk about that later probably, but. So we'll see how it goes. Andor looks pretty good. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and then that's fair. What can you do?
What can you do?
All right, guys, get hyped for this episode. We're gonna be hopping into the past to talk with Bryan Zerr about him and his favorite movie coming up. But first, a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, welcome to Quarter Twins, the Quarter Twins podcast, the only podcast where 2 quarters makes $1. But today, well, you know what? The intro is going to be in the Obi-Wan part, so we don't even need to do that. We already talked about Obi-Wan the first 2 episodes in the future on Friday, the day that this is releasing.
We've already done it.
How great was that? Or how terrible was that? We don't know.
Well, at this moment, we don't know.
Yes, that's true. Because today is Tuesday, and we are in the past. And we're in the past today to bring a guest to the future, Mr. Bryan Zerr.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hi, Brian.
This is my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. As promised last week, we have brought him along to talk about him and his favorite movie. Yeah, so we already did all the other stuff, so we can just hop right into it. Brian, who are you?
Yeah, I guess I'm your brother-in-law, so that's dope.
That is dope.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm a nurse and living in Colorado, and it's a good time, man. I'm doing a lot of hopefully camping this summer and fishing, and just got to go celebrate in Washington Joshua's graduation, so that was a good time. Everybody hold your applause for now.
Sorry.
But you can send him a DM when you want. Let him know he did a good job. But
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Helping the people, living in Colorado, doing the camping, all that sort of fun stuff.
Very fun.
That's awesome. So, you are a movie watcher, I can presume, from time to time?
yeah, definitely a movie watcher. I probably watch more TV than I do movies, but yeah, definitely love me a good movie.
A good movie. Why do you like movies? Why do you love movies?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I like movies kind of as a casual movie watcher, the same reasons everybody else does. Like, definitely puts you in a different environment or a different space for, 2.5 hours or 2 hours, and there's something to be said about that. And if a movie can do it well, then it can be something that you can go back to. It can be nostalgic. Like the movie we're going to talk about today, I can go back to times in my life where I watched that movie and think about kind of like where I was in life, when I saw that movie, and it's pretty cool in that way. I think I'm somebody who always like attached myself to like actors specifically, and was always like, man, I want to be a lot like that guy, or like have characteristics like that person. And yeah, movies was something I went to for things like that too. So
That's sweet.
Nice.
That's very cool.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, very eloquent, well put. I love that.
Thanks. Thanks.
So, well, let's see here. Jordan, you have any questions for Bryan before we move on?
Um, I don't think I have anything other than what is your favorite movie, Bryan? What are we here to talk about?
Yeah. Cool. Well, you guys, you prompted me with the question of favorite movie, and if I'm being honest, I haven't spent a lot of time in my life thinking about what my favorite movie was. So when you asked me that, I was like, man, I could probably pick like several right now that I think are pretty dang good. But I think one that I can always go back to, and one that kind of stuck with me since I was a little kid, was I Am Legend. And yeah, I think that it's just one that I've loved since probably like sixth grade. So
Interesting. That's awesome.
I
So yeah, we're
Am
here
Legend.
talking about I Am Legend, a new movie to me and Joshua both. We watched it for the first time this past week. So Bryan, can you give us like a basic plot synopsis? What's
What
the
goes down?
A to Z? What goes down in the movie?
yeah, well, main actor here is Will Smith. Will Smith is that dude for me. If I'm being honest, as far as like acting goes, was always like I gotta watch every Will Smith movie. He's that dude. But right at the beginning, we got a classic virus outbreak, and yeah, and so yeah, very in the news. But we get a little virus outbreak mixed with kind of like a zombie apocalypse type feel. Basically, this virus kind of turns everybody into I don't know, like kind of like zombies. Basically, just humans that aren't really humans anymore, and they want to eat other people. Things, classic zombie stuff. But and surprisingly, I'm not really into zombie movies. So if you ask me about zombie movies, this will be the only one I can tell you that I like.
Zombieland?
Yeah, and no, not a Zombieland fan. No, so yeah, and then this guy is kind of living on his own in New York. He thinks everybody's died, and he's trying to come up with a vaccine for this virus because he is the only person who seems to be immune to it. And while he's doing that, he's kind of putting out radio calls, hoping that somebody will answer, but he goes a very long time without receiving an answer. You get some flashbacks into his life throughout it. And then eventually he does kind of meet this family, and there's a glimmer of hope. And yeah, in the end, there's a nice little glimmer of hope, followed by a little bit of, or associated with a little bit of sadness, and yeah, so I'd say that's the gist of it.
There you go.
You guys
Yeah.
just recently watched it, did you? Yeah, you guys just recently watched it. Did you have any immediate feelings on it?
Yeah, we were planning on doing this podcast yesterday on Monday, and I hadn't seen it yet, so that was my fault. So I was just gonna go into this podcast not having seen it at all. But then, it was God's plan to have this podcast today, so I was able to get a day of grace and saw the movie last night at midnight in the dark, because I like to turn off all the lights. My laptop keyboard has lights on it, so I turn those off. My mouse has lights on it because gotta have lights everywhere, and so I unplugged that. It's complete darkness. I watched this zombie outbreak movie. It was a little scary for me, it was a little freaky. They don't shy away from showing the zombie guys once they've like shown them for the first time, which I thought was really interesting. He also I guess we're gonna spoil the movie throughout, so spoiler warning ahead now that we've given a plot spoiler-free synopsis there. I was kind of shocked at how I don't know. They did a lot to create a world in such a short amount of time. I thought was
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Like they started with this TV program with the lady who cured cancer with the measles
Mm.
vaccine or whatever. Um, and then it just switches to the future. But you get these like there were multiple times when he opened a fridge door or a cabinet door and there was a headline or like an old picture that
Mm.
was like giving you background information of the news at the time. So I paused to read
Yeah.
it because I was like, what the heck did that just say? Um, or like, yeah, we had the flashback, so you get to see the beginning of it, which I thought was cool. It wasn't just like zombie survival movie with a guy with a dog. There was
Mm-hmm.
actual like he's trying to find the cure. He's doing, he's has radio signals going out. It's more than just like a zombie thriller. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I watched it like on Thursday, I think. Um, and yeah, for the first time, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew it was kind of a zombie apocalypse type movie, but um, yeah, I don't know why I had it in my head that it was a bad movie. I don't. I think I heard somebody say that it was bad, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I watched it, and I was like, this is pretty good. Um, Yeah, I'm definitely not a zombie movie guy either. I stay away from that as much as I can. But um, yeah, this one it's not. There's a lot of just Will Smith by himself and his dog, and he's just like going about his day talking to mannequins and that sort of thing. And I really like the first like half of the movie where it's basically just Will Smith, you just seeing him live out his life as the only human in New York City. He has all these like um, things set up around him that he has kind of a daily routine of going to rent a movie and talk to his friends who are mannequins, and like he goes to the dock to see if anybody will come meet him there because he's been sending out these broadcasts um, to see if anybody's out there. Um, it's just kind of like there's not a lot of music during that part of the movie,
Mm.
so it's just kind of just like a quiet um, isolation type um, movie, which I enjoyed. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It kind of wrapped up in a way I wasn't super expecting. Kind of like has this commentary about is God real or not right at the end, which I was like, oh wow, that kind of came out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
I enjoy the discourse,
Sure.
that idea. Um, yeah, I liked it.
Thumbs
Yeah.
up from the Quarter
Sweet.
Twins.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I went through some of the reviews right before this because I was just curious. Like, man, this came out a long time ago. I saw this a long time ago, but I wanted to know like what people had said about it, and I think like the biggest complaint seemed to be like the CGI, right? Which was like,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I remember even like watching this movie a couple of years ago and being like, man, the female zombie or whatever laying on the table, I was like, this
Mm.
just looks ridiculous. That scene specifically, but I think for its time, like it seems to be pretty decent CGI. And then yeah, um, I think that if it's not Will Smith, I think there's a hard chance this movie flops.
Hmm.
I think that the story at the end, like the family, I think is necessary in order to make it feel like more than a zombie movie. But I feel like this
Hmm.
movie could have been maybe 30, 40 minutes longer, and it would have done it a lot of justice had they put a
Hmm.
little bit more into that. Um,
Because it
and
is like
like
an
I
hour and a
think,
half, right? Like
Yeah, it's like hour and
it's
40
pretty
yeah, it's a
minutes or
short.
short
something.
movie.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a short movie. But and then yeah, I think the way I felt about the God conversation. I think it's interesting. I think it's like I thought it was cool that the family was like this the child and the mom, like they were still believers, and I thought it was completely reasonable for Will Smith's character to question that. And I thought something he said that was interesting was like when he says he's like, God didn't do this, and he's talking about the virus and all the deaths and stuff, and I think they're kind of trying to talk about how there can be good out of the situation, and he's like, this isn't God, like God didn't do this. And I thought about our current state of affairs with like COVID and those kind of things, and I think that a lot of people probably had those same kind of questions when it came to God and stuff like that when they lost a lot of family members. And I think that, and you guys feel free to chime in on this, but I thought it's probably, you know, true. Like as somebody who is a believer, like I think that God probably does, like he doesn't create virus. Yeah, he's not someone who is like the creator of illness or like those kind of things came with sin, like illness and disease and like the state of like I guess our planet, right, with like global warming and stuff. We don't have to get super political or anything. I just thought it was a cool little one word statement there that I was like, man, this kind of does reach a lot further than this movie and something that other people can probably resonate with. But yeah, any quick thoughts on that? We don't have to get super deep on that, but
I think it's
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good. It's interesting how much this movie like fits into today and Bryan. Like we have, you know, I mean, you're a nurse, right? So you've dealt with a lot of COVID patients. I mean, obviously you've done more than just COVID, probably, but
right.
that's been, at least for the probably in the past, was the majority of your work dealing with patients. And then we also have like you, I mean, yeah, you're a believer, and it's interesting to see that conversation in an older movie. And I think bringing it forward today is pretty sweet. Because we've talked a lot about a lot of newer movies. I think the oldest movie that I've even brought up was The Shining, and yeah, so I think it's cool to see older movies still get recognition like that.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was a good. Yeah, I think you had a good analysis of it. It's the like lady, the girl who kind of comes in at the end with her son, who they have this conversation, her and Will Smith's character. I forget, is his name Robert? I forget what his name is.
Yeah,
I think so,
yeah,
Robert,
I think
yeah.
it is
Robert. They have this conversation where he's trying to get her to tell him like how she knew to find him, and she finally says like, well, God told me. And he's like, how do you know that there's this civilization of humans who are living out in the mountains? Like, how do you know that exists? And she says, well, God told me. And he's not buying it because at that point he's very skeptical and has kind of given up all faith, because he kind of sees himself as the one man cure, the one man who can figure this thing out, and he puts that on himself. And then at the end of the movie, he has to kind of let that go and kind of finds his faith again. So I thought it was good.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
that's it made me think earlier in the movie. I would say, like in the flashbacks, there is a point when his family, his daughter and his wife, are in the Coast Guard helicopter flying away. And right before they leave, they have a little prayer real quick, like. And so you can see that he is at that point. And then, spoiler alert, they get hit by another helicopter, and it cuts away, but I think it's safe to assume that they were killed. in that ensuing explosion and collision. So I think it's even more reasonable for him to see like a connection with. He's like, okay, I prayed, and then immediately my family was killed. And, then he has this world of zombies around him that he could potentially have the ability to fix. And even just that, like, he's immune, there must be something in him that he can give to other people. He can see how he is like the human in it. He can fix it. There's no need for that higher power. And when he tried to call upon it once, it, presumably in his eyes, immediately caused the death of his family. Right? So then you have, like, he has so many reasons not to believe anymore. So then he hears somebody say, "Oh, God told me." Right? Like, that's like such a... I mean, even today, you hear someone say, "Oh, like, God spoke to me." That can be easily seen as, like, crazy person alert,
Yeah.
if you're not a believer. So
Sure.
I think that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I thought that was like kind of like a quick, and like you said, Josh, like, oh, okay, we're talking about God now, and I was like, yeah, I think that it was kind of out of nowhere, but I had an appreciation for it, and then it also like I think one of my favorite scenes in that movie is like right around that same time is like when he's like quoting Shrek,
Oh, yeah.
sitting in the living room with them.
That was
Yeah, that's
great.
like an all-time scene for me in movies when he's like I guess he's like probably seen Shrek like 3,000 times while he's just been alone with his dog. So like the son and the mom are just sitting there and they're like in complete silence, and he's just like sitting there quoting word for word the Shrek movie, and they're just kind of staring at him and they're like, oh, this guy is like really lost his marbles. But
Yeah.
like I don't know,
It's
just
so funny.
pretty funny. I like that part.
Yeah,
it's...
the absolute commitment to that joke, because it just goes on for so long. He quotes
Yeah.
like 5 minutes of Shrek. It just
great.
goes on for so long. It's so
Well,
good.
it's like it almost feels like he is trying to comfort the kid because he slammed his breakfast on the table earlier
Yeah,
because he was saving that bacon.
yeah,
Right.
But then he comes down. He's like, okay, I gotta be a person that interacts with other people again, because the mannequins never said hello, right? And so then,
I did really like that he, like, sometimes in these types of movies, the main character is just like normal. He's just a normal guy, but like you really get the sense that this Will Smith, he's lost his mind. Like he's like he is insane right now, and he's not thinking like a human or anything. I just enjoy the fact that it seemed realistic for a person who's been alone in New York City for
3
years
years.
and years with a dog, and start to lose his mind. When, spoiler alert, he has to eventually kill his dog. And when that happened, I almost texted you, Brian. I was like, "How dare you make me watch this movie? Like this sucks. I'm sad now."
Yeah.
That was very sad to watch. But
Yeah, dude. If you're too much of a dog lover, I don't know. It's a tough scene. It's
You just got a dog,
I think
Brian.
that's like,
How could you do this?
dude, I did just get a dog. I've seen that movie so many times though that that scene affects me less now. But I do remember watching that and just like I was probably like 12 years old, just bawling on the couch like how could this happen? But also one of those things where like you have to put real sad things in movies. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
I kind of like, as soon as I realized it was a zombie movie, I was like, this dog's gonna go. There's no way it makes it to the end of this movie.
for real.
But I was really surprised that it happened so early. And I think it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it could have been like they survive and they do this whole thing, right? And there's no family, like Anna and Ethan or whatever their names are, don't come in. And then at the end, he gives the vial to the dog or something and it walks to Vermont. It would have been terrible, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But they, like maybe 60% of the way through, the dog saves his life and basically sacrifices itself for its owner, which is awesome. Shout out dogs. Come on the podcast. And but yeah, then we get this scene where he's like, we've kind of seen the signs and symptoms, and he like pulls the dog's eyes back, and you see like the disease like behind its eyelid or something, and he's like, oh, it's too late, like there's no more time. And I also think that it was good that he didn't leave it in one of the boxes and like try to cure it and do all these experiments on it. He was like kind of merciful in that way. He was like, you've lived with me for 3 years. You've been my best friend. Like, I'm not going to submit you to torture, even if you could be a potentially valuable asset to saving the rest of the world, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you guys know about the alternate ending thing? They like had a separate ending.
I did
That's
not
on
know.
like it's on like YouTube. You should watch it after. So they like the original ending was they're in the like bunker or whatever behind the plexiglass where he has the female zombie in there, and all the like army of zombie guys are trying to get in. And then in the original ending, Will Smith realizes that they just want to get this female zombie back, so he like opens the door and like brings the girl out, and they don't try to kill him. Like the leader of the zombies like lets him come out, and Will Smith like revives that female, and then they get back up and they just leave. And then after that, I think they all, Will Smith and the family, go to Vermont and deliver the cure or whatever. But I thought it was interesting because throughout the movie you kind of like get the idea that the zombies are becoming more intelligent. Like they set up this, they see Will Smith setting up traps for them, so the leader kind of sets up a trap for him eventually. Like he takes a mannequin and puts him somewhere in the city where Will Smith didn't put him, and so he sees that and walks towards it, and he gets trapped, and then they like send dogs after him. That's where the dog gets bitten or whatever. And you start to see like some at the beginning of the movie, Will Smith is talking about how like they don't resemble any sort of human culture or like any of that type of thing. But throughout the movie, you kind of see them kind of develop more like human emotions and ways of like going about things, which doesn't really at the end, that doesn't really lead to much at the end of the actual movie, because Will Smith just blows them all up, which is cool too. But I thought it was interesting, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Oh yeah, I just thought that. Yeah, I think that there's a solid chance, like you said, that they were building up to that alternate ending with the like humanization of them, and then at the end they were like, actually this is better. Which in in hindsight it probably was better, but yeah, like I said, the movie could have used an extra 30 minutes, and that would have been part.
That's
of
probably
it,
part of it. They probably wanted to
tried to do both,
make it shorter,
in a way.
Right.
Yeah, well, Jordan kind of stole one of the things I wanted to talk about, but that's fine.
Oh.
We got to talk about it, so that's cool.
My bad.
I thought it was so cool. Like, I talked about how it was more than a zombie movie, and more like a plague movie, I guess you could say. And I thought that it was so cool that the zombies were like intelligent enough. Like all zombie movies are just kind of like, whatever. And they're not dumb. They're super dumb, right? or they're like World War Z, they're super fast, like or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then this time they're like these ugly, like super hairless, like see-through beings, and they're weak to sunlight or like ultraviolet light,
Yeah.
and so they hide in the dark. Um, but I thought it was so cool that they were smart and like
Mm-hmm.
had that human side to them. Cause like the when he traps the girl, then um the leader guy or whatever like exposes himself to the sun just to
Mm-hmm.
like scream in anger at him, and then he,
Yeah.
which is like obviously like you took my girl or whatever,
Right.
and or my friend, I guess it could be platonic.
I think it ends up being his like wife, basically.
Yeah. So I you know I saw that set up throughout the movie, and I was really expecting it to be he showed the cured woman at the end, and the zombies were like, "Oh, we can
Yeah.
be healed, right? Let's do that
Mm.
instead." And that didn't happen, and I was a little disappointed in that, I guess.
Mm.
But I guess that kind of would have justified everything that Will's character did, which may not be the right message. So then they went with the sacrifice play,
Yeah.
which I guess is probably more of a positive end.
It kind of makes him the hero and the I am a legend,
Right.
legendary
Yeah.
type thing. But
Yeah, I think they had to try and find a way to kill Will in a way where he looked like this bigger than life human. You know what I mean? So,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So,
That's interesting. Well, we haven't even gotten to any of these questions on the
Yeah.
question board because Brian's so good at coming up with interesting talking points. So let's see what we got here. Um, we have like, when did you see I Am Legend for the first time? What was the first time? Can you remember that far back?
uh, dude, I think if I had to remember, there's like, if I really think I watched this on HBO, like it was playing on cable
Mm.
HBO. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
nice.
And yeah, I was probably in like sixth grade, and yeah, I remember just being like, "Holy crap!" Like that was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and just
Yeah.
and then being like, "Yeah, I have to get this DVD," and yeah,
The
it's just
DVD.
something that's kind of stuck with me. Yeah, exactly. I still rock that DVD. It's like one of 5 DVDs that I have. So
That's awesome.
That's
yeah.
cool. And so, when you saw it for the first time, did you think that the CGI was bad? Because I'll be honest, I didn't think that it was even really that bad. Like it was obvious that it was like everything was really smooth and clean, which is a problem that older
Yeah.
CGI has. But I didn't even think that it looked too terrible.
Yeah, I think that when I saw it then, there's no way that was even a thought of mine. And then watching it, even I watched it, or like I said, I started to watch it this morning just because I was like, man, we're gonna talk about it. Might as well throw it on. And I saw like the very beginning shot where he's driving through the city that's supposed to be abandoned, and like the lion that comes out
Mm.
Mm.
into the road, and I was like, man, like at least the city for sure like looks great to me in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the lions like I guess like if you were to make this movie today, obviously they would look better, but I thought that like it looked pretty good. And yeah, like I said, I think the only time I ever thought that the CGI looked corny or bad was like when the zombies breathing on the table. It just looks really odd for some weird reason. Yeah, and like I just did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I'd probably disagree on the take that the CGI was bad, especially for a
Mm-hmm.
2009 movie. But
Mm-hmm.
oh no, 2007. Sorry,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Well, I think another movie that came out in those like pre 2010 that is also primarily CG effects would be Avatar, which is one of the greatest looking movies ever. So I think people can kind of like be like, oh, well, you see this? It was only 2 years later. It was probably still in production when I Am Legend came out. So you could make the argument that technology was there. You could have had better looking monsters, or like I thought the deer didn't look great when they were moving
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird. Or like when it was sitting there real slow like, and they have to like create the specific images that they want it to do. Like they didn't have a trained deer or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it's like
I was
obvious.
just looking. I just looked up the budget. So Avatar was made for like $250 million. I Am Legend was made for like $150 million.
Okay,
So
well,
that's
that makes sense.
that's the
All
difference.
right. That is a good
Yeah.
point to bring up.
Yeah,
All
But-
things considered.
for sure.
But I think when you look at these two movies side by side, in terms of like the critical analysis and like their acclaim, I think I Am Legend is probably more people's favorite movies than Avatar. But we've done a whole
Maybe so.
podcast with
That's
a
true.
guest who said Avatar was their favorite movie. So who am I to say?
Yeah.
Right.
And what Avatar came out in 2009, right? Yeah, 2009. So technology advances quite a bit in 2 years, but
Yeah, especially then.
with
I feel like.
visual effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Oh yeah, it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good for the most part.
I thought.
Yeah.
I guess I thought when they were all climbing up the walls, they did that a couple times where they're like jumping up the walls. I thought it
Yeah.
looked kind of janky, like their clothes were like extra baggy or something. But I guess that makes sense because
Yeah.
they're kind of skinny. So
oh yeah.
Yeah.
who can say?
What do you think about a sequel, Brian? Do you think there could be a sequel?
Well, when I looked it up today, when I was looking for reviews, I saw that sequel is on the books. So,
Oh really?
What?
yeah, I don't
There
know
you go.
that a sequel should be made for this movie. It kind of feels like it did a good job finishing where it did, and it's been like that for about 15 years. So,
Yeah.
but they're gonna do it, and I guess Michael B. Jordan is the casted guy for it, and there's some
I
pictures
see
of Will
that.
Smith just looking super old. But I'll be there for it. I'll watch it. It sounds,
They probably won't do it now since he slapped Chris Rock.
dude. Yeah, that's
Nobody's
probably
giving him any work.
there's a good chance. I don't know.
Well, they
Oh
did
my.
ban him from the Oscars for 10 years. So
Oh my.
Yeah, man, that's a
Current events.
controversial guy right now.
well, it's all right. He wasn't controversial then, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
So-
he's still like, I mean, he can do whatever, but he still like makes good movies. I mean, he was at the Oscars because he won an Oscar. So
Yeah.
Sitting up in the
What a-
front.
A crazy
Right.
night that was. Wow.
that's a good movie too. I was telling Josh, King Richard.
I've
Okay.
Watch that
I haven't
That's on
seen it.
HBO too, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I should
maybe
watch
I'll
it.
watch that. I like tennis.
Yeah,
What do you think they would do with a sequel? Right? Like, are they gonna be in Vermont,
Mm.
or
dude, that's what I'm saying. I have no idea what you would do with this.
Yeah.
Besides like, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is like, have you guys saw that movie, A Silent Place or A Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place.
Quiet
Yeah.
Place?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did a sequel to that, and it was kind of just more of the same thing. And I kind of feel like that's the only thing you can really do here is just more
Yeah.
of the same thing. Like they get out and they have some cure, and then maybe there's a variant or something. You know, I don't know.
yeah.
That's all I can think of. But yeah, I know they
Yeah.
probably saw variants for COVID, and they were like, "Oh, we're making a sequel."
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll make it a whole COVID political type movie probably.
Man, I hope not, but we'll see.
But yeah, I had that same thought about A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place 2, there's this like civilization town that has like big walls where they've kind of on an island where they've gotten away from the monsters, and then the alien creatures eventually get to that town or whatever, and crap hits the
Right.
fan. And So that seemed like if you're gonna do a sequel, that's probably what they would have done, but that's been done already.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Right.
I don't know what they're. I don't know, but Michael B. Jordan's a good actor, so
Yeah.
He is good. Yeah, we'll see.
just do a remake. Just do the first one again.
That
Just
would
do it
be,
twice.
Then people can stop complaining about the CGI, and
Yeah.
then we'll
it's
be
a
good.
perfect movie.
Well,
We've talked plenty about I Am Legend as your favorite movie. I thought you gave a fantastic reason as to why. But do you have any other overarching thoughts about how it's impacted you more than other movies?
No, I think I just plenty of memories there. I remember walking around with like my Nerf gun and like covering the sight like
Oh,
he
yeah.
does with the flashlight, and and just always being like, man, that dude is so cool. But I think that about wraps it up for me.
Surviving a zombie apocalypse with
Nice.
a leather jacket is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool dude.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are some of your other favorite movies? If you have a list.
Yeah, I think. Well, I was bouncing back and forth on like whether or not to do a comedy, but there's some like classic comedies in there that I think if anybody has like favorite comedies, these are probably like their favorites. But like Step Brothers, classic, and then a big fan of Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie.
It's on
Yeah.
the list.
Dude,
It's a good one.
yeah, that's a great movie.
That's not a comedy,
And
though, is it?
then that's not a comedy.
Okay.
We've moved on from comedies. Yeah, I gave you
see.
one. And then let's see. I love a good sports movie too. Friday Night Lights. Really enjoy that movie. I'd say those are my favorites in all my little categories there.
There you go.
But-
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. What is this on here, Jordan?
I finished watching I Am Legend, and the next recommended was iRobot. You guys seen iRobot? Another Will Smith classic.
Yeah, dude, I've
haven't
seen
it,
iRobot.
actually.
Dude, I was gonna recommend iRobot. It's a great time.
Actually, yeah, it is a good movie. It's a
It's a
decent
good
movie.
Will Smith movie. Science fiction, artificial intelligence movie around the same time period. Probably a little bit, quite a bit earlier than I Am Legend. When did that come out? Let me see.
I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years earlier.
2004. So yeah, a few years earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just a really
Yeah.
fun time for sure.
All right. I'll have to give that a watch. And
Right.
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should.
Some Will Smith movies. I think 7 Pounds was big for me when I was young, and like I think 7 Pounds has
seen that one.
terrible ratings. People hated 7 Pounds, but for like it's a good theme. Donates all of his organs at the end. And then there's like Pursuit of Happiness. Have you guys seen that?
I have seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic.
There's After Earth, everybody's favorite
Oh yeah,
Will Smith movie.
that's the best Will Smith movie right there.
People hate that
Shark
movie, I
Tale.
think. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's a
Shark
better
Tale.
movie.
People, yeah, that's a good
Low-key,
movie,
that's a great
man.
movie.
Oh man.
Sweet.
Well, great. This has been the Quarter Twins, episode 9, with Bryan Zerr.
Wow.
We
Almost
talked
double digits.
all up about I Am Legend, and me and Jordan will have talked about Obi-Wan episodes 1 and 2 as well in the future. That's crazy that those are coming out.
It is wild.
Next week will be the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Juniverse.
Yes.
We will be talking about the first 5 Marvel movies, Phase 1.
Yep. Yep.
Iron Man, Captain America, Iron Man 2, Thor, and
Hulk.
the Avengers.
Avengers,
Oh, and
yeah.
Hulk. So 6, I guess, maybe. I can't count while I'm listing. Um,
Yeah, 6.
so get hype for that. We're
Get
very
hype.
excited. I gotta watch Iron Man 2. Because that's so good. What a great movie. Um, Brian, shout out your socials. You got Instagram, you got Twitter. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Bryan Zerr, Instagram.
Nice.
Throw me a follow.
Heck yeah, dude. That's sweet.
Nice.
We are quarter twins everywhere. Do we have a Twitter
Yep.
actually? Probably not.
Not yet.
Not a Twitter.
No.
Okay, but we got Instagram. We're on
Yep.
Spotify, Apple
We're on-
Podcasts.
we're on
are
TikTok
on
now.
TikTok.
Wow.
We got one TikTok on there. Got like 500 views. That's pretty sick.
That's cool.
And YouTube. This will be on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. That's just about it right there. I think.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Brian.
Yes, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
guys.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Very succinct, very eloquent. Love that. So
Cool. Appreciate you guys.
yeah. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, whatever you did. And we will see you guys next week for phase 1 of Marvel. Outro. See ya, guys.
Bye.
And we're back. Welcome to the Tuesday post intro recording pre-final outro because I said goodbye.
Yeah.
Because we thought that was going to be the end, but it wasn't the end. It was the beginning.
It was only the beginning.
We
have 2 more hours to go.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Let's do this. We've reached the first third. No. At 9 p.m. yesterday, I received word from Jordan that Obi-Wan had released early. And it was true what he said about
Thank goodness.
Obi-Wan releasing early. It gave me the opportunity to watch it before this because I was applying for jobs this morning. Huh? How about that?
Yeah. There you go.
So I was able to watch the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan. So was Jordan, presumably.
Yes.
That's good. Okay.
Late last night, I watched them.
And do you want to do a quick spoiler-free review because it released?
Yeah, we could do that.
For all intents and purposes, it released today.
Yes.
So we don't want to rush into spoilers. So give me the rundown.
So it's Obi-Wan. He is on Tatooine after the events of Revenge of the Sith. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan takes Luke to Tatooine to kind of keep an eye on him and keep him safe from the Empire and whatever. So Obi-Wan is there. The show takes place 10 years after that initial event, and we see Obi-Wan, and he's there, and that's about as spoiler-free, I think, as we can probably get.
That is
If
kinda
you've seen
true.
the trailers, you know other things, but if you haven't seen the trailers, I don't want to spoil anything. But
There you go. Yeah. All right. Spoiler-free review done. Nailed
Done.
it. First try.
spoilers ahead.
All right. We're going to spoil a little bit here, the first 2 episodes. Hopefully my mom isn't in the sewing room and can hear me spoil the show for her because she wants to watch it too. Okay. First things first, right off the bat
What to
for
say,
me.
what to say.
For me,
Yeah.
the 2 Inquisitor guys that we saw right at the beginning, goofy.
Yeah.
Goofy. All right.
Absolutely goofy.
I love that it's practical. I love that they the Grand Inquisitor really loves this job. He is killing
He
it.
does.
I love it
Yeah.
for him. But the makeup isn't super great. And the other guy with the weird I don't know,
Hat.
like samurai hat looking thing,
Yeah.
it's not a vibe. And I get that he's supposed to be like the muscle kind of looking dude. He's buff. He's got the lightsaber on his back, which that's a whole nother thing. The spinning lightsaber, that's not how it works. I don't know who
Did you
greenlit
watch
that.
Rebels? I don't know if we ever talked about Rebels.
I watched
Because that's where the
first
Grand
season.
Inquisitor is in that.
Yeah, I knew that, and I know that about the helicopter flying lightsaber thing, which is A, that's not how light works. B, the hilt holds the projector, so when it spins, it should cut off unless the whole ring is a hole, at which point the whole lightsaber would just be a giant disc.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not realistic within the
Come on, guys.
suspension of disbelief that's already occurring in Star Wars.
Yeah.
They just kind of look goofy. However, third sister.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro.
Reva.
I'm pro.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the kind of relationship they had as the three Inquisitors of like the Grand Inquisitor is this very like kind of posh, kind of intense, like kind of holier than thou type person.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, like you said, is kind of the muscle, and Reva is this kind of like kind of angsty, a little bit more reckless than the others, and she has like something to prove, and she wants to kind of take over this job, and she's the one who wants to find Obi-Wan, because Darth Vader and the Inquisitors have been looking for Obi-Wan for 10 years now and haven't found him, this is the fact that Obi-Wan takes Luke, Anakin's son, to the planet, to his literal uncle,
Mm-hmm.
where he grew up, and they never thought to look there.
Right. In 10 years.
It's like, and maybe they did look there and they just didn't find him.
I think the common argument there
I don't know about that.
is that Anakin would never want to go back to Tatooine because that's where his mother died.
Yeah, that's
and it's
true.
like, okay, but you're a Sith Lord now. You need to buck up, you know? Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
For the
And
greater good. Which, in his case, is evil. But
yeah, in episode 1, episode 1 is there just so happens to be another Jedi on Tatooine where Obi-Wan is.
In the
and
same
so the
town.
Inquisitors come. Yeah. I don't know. The Inquisitors show up looking for that Jedi, this random Jedi that we don't know. And they find him very quickly because he's not very good at hiding, and he's been showing his powers to people, trying to protect people and that sort of thing. So they find him, and so they're on Tatooine looking for Jedi, and Obi-Wan kind of thinks that they're looking for him at first. But then he talks to this other Jedi and is like, the time for the Jedi is over. Like, we lost. The Jedi don't exist anymore. Go bury your lightsaber. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. So you kind of get that from Obi-Wan that he's kind of given up hope for the Jedi. He's at a place where he feels like he failed, that he lost. And when Bail Organa comes up and is like, I need you to help me, he's like, nah, dude, find somebody else.
I'm not that
So,
man
anymore. And we find out that Leia is like a main character in this show. How do you feel about that?
I was surprised, to say the least. But I think it's a pretty good angle, actually. I was worried that the show was just going to be... Like, people were like, I would be happy with 6 episodes of Obi-Wan working at this random place and doing nothing, just so we can have him being a hermit or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, for like 1 episode maybe. But he needs to do something. And I'm also glad that it doesn't have to do with Luke, and it's not just on Tatooine the whole time.
Oh, thank goodness.
because we are sick
I
and
was
tired of
so
Tatooine. All
Get
right,
out of
can we
Tatooine. I
can
was
we
so when he leaves Tatooine at the end of episode 1, and that was just I was so happy that
Yeah.
he left.
He left.
I don't
So
want
you
to see it
coming or
again.
not? Yeah, please.
I do not want to
don't
see
be
it
like,
again.
oh, we're on a different desert planet, Jakku. It's
Yeah,
still
no,
Tatooine.
don't go to Jakku. Gosh, and so Princess Leia, who's 10 years old, is over on Alderaan with the Organas, and I really like the actor they picked for Leia.
Yeah, I thought she did
They
great.
announced the actor that they picked for Luke, but they kept the Leia thing a secret, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And I think the actor, the kid actress, is doing a really good job of like, you believe that this is Leia. Like she's kind of a little stinker. She's kind of
Very
spunky.
stubborn,
And,
fearless,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
and they have a sweet moment, Obi-Wan and Leia, where Obi-Wan is like, "You remind me of a friend that I used to know," which her mom, Padme, and you get that like Padme's personality with Leia's personality, and it makes sense, and
It's lovely.
good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of Bad Batch, if you've seen that.
Oh yeah.
With the what was her name? Alpha or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was Omega.
Omega, the other one.
Omega.
And you have like this older guy protecting a younger character who's snarky and sly and that sort of thing. But I hope that they have like that genuine relationship going forward.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Because
Yeah.
it kind of helps build the episode 4 like Obi-Wan relationship that she has. She knows who he is.
Yeah.
And she has like, well, maybe she doesn't even know that it's the same guy because she's been referring to him as Ben. So,
Sure.
but c'est la vie. She knows she can trust this person now. We're still in episode 1, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So she gets basically abducted by the third sister, Reva, comes up with this plan to abduct. She figures out that Obi-Wan had a relationship with Bail Organa, Leia's adopted father, and so Reva decides to kidnap Leia, take her to another planet, and her theory is that Bail will go to Obi-Wan looking for help, and that way she can get Obi-Wan out in the open and catch him. So
A genius ploy.
they go to this like city planet type thing. I think they said the name of the planet, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
said it a
remember
bunch of
what it
times.
is.
It was like Dumois or something.
Yeah, Dumois. It's Coruscant basically.
Yeah. I just to kind of take a step back, words here. I really enjoyed how Obi-Wan kind of was this recluse and had kind of accepted this reality that the Jedi were that they lost.
Yeah.
And so there is a moment in the first episode where the random Jedi we find that's being hunted meets up with him randomly in the middle of the desert in the dark, and it's like, Obi-Wan, you need to help me. Like, what about the Jedi? And he's like, the fight's over.
Go away.
We lost.
Yeah.
Bury your
Get outta here, man.
lightsaber in the sand. And I just think that that's so like pro Last Jedi. And
Dude, yeah.
if I just wanna plug that again, how
So I had that
amazing
thought
movie
of like,
is.
so people were so mad that Luke ends up being this kind of like hermit who's kind of like given up hope on the Jedi. He doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. It's time for the Jedi to end.
Mm-hmm.
And people were pissed off about that. But when it's Obi-Wan doing the exact same thing, they're like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, guys, make up your mind.
Yeah.
Jeez, come on.
And it's the same people complaining. And because they don't even know. They
Absolutely.
just want to find something to complain about. And Star Wars fills that itch in every possible way. So
It sure does.
I think it's a good projection, because Luke sees this person as a role model, and this is what he did. So when he finds himself in a similar situation, he's going to end up doing the same thing. He cuts himself off from the Force. It's probable that Obi-Wan didn't use the Force until episode 2, right?
Yeah.
In the second episode of
He's
the
kind
show,
of out of
right?
he's kind of out of practice. He hasn't done it in a while.
Yeah. It's and that's what Luke did. He didn't use the Force for
character
a long time,
development.
So
Yeah.
think about it. Last Jedi's the greatest Star Wars movie there ever was. Well, that's not true. It's number 3.
It's
or
it's
4,
the best one.
respectively. But
3 or 4.
yeah, and then I really enjoyed how the Inquisitors had this like speech at the beginning where they're talking about trying to weed out a Jedi in this bar, and they're like, the Jedi can't help but be compassionate and good people. And
Yes.
so
It is like an itch, he says. They cannot help but to scratch. Something like
it's
that.
like,
yeah.
and I think that's a really cool way to like visualize the way that they see information and how they are gonna try to, hunt the Jedi down. It's like they hear rumors about a guy who helped someone else, and they're just like, that could be a Jedi, because
Could be a Jedi.
they can't not be good people. And so, and of course, that's exactly what weeds him out in the end. So
Yeah.
and does that random Jedi die in the first episode?
They see him, they hang him in the town square or whatever.
Pretty gnarly, which I thought was cool.
Pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bummer there.
That's episode 1.
Yeah. Shout out to Deborah Chow for directing all 6 episodes, by the way.
Great directing.
Good, very good.
Great directing, which is my beef with the Book of Boba Fett. Bad directing, in my opinion. But
we'll have to go back
that's just
and
me.
do those episodes or something.
Yeah.
When we find ourselves in a dry spell. Episode 2.
Episode 2.
What goes down?
He goes to this city planet, Booyah or whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. To find Leia. So it's kind of this criminal planet where there isn't a lot of accountability, and the Empire's kind of there. But so he's looking for Leia, and he finds her super quickly because it's a trap for him, essentially. Right. They want him to find Leia so that Reva can get to him, and so yeah, he finds Leia. He gets out of that situation, punches his way out. It's interesting seeing Jedi. Yeah, it's interesting seeing Jedi use just their fists and stuff. You don't see that super often.
Yeah.
We don't see Obi-Wan's lightsaber ignite at all in these first 2 episodes, which is a little bit of a bummer. But it's okay. I like that he doesn't want to open that thing up. It's not
that's
what
a
he wants to.
like.
Yeah.
That's a death sentence, basically.
It is. Yes. So yeah, he gets Leia, rescues her, and she is kind of. I did like that she wasn't immediately like, okay, I trust you, let's go. She was kind of questioning him, like, why should I trust you? Like, who the heck are you? You say you're a Jedi, but you don't use any Jedi powers. Like, why should I? You say you know my father, but why should I believe you? So she kind of runs away from him at one point, and so Leia is running away from Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is running after Leia, and Reva is chasing Obi-Wan.
Doing some sick
and they're trying to
over the city.
Some sick parkour. Leia and Obi-Wan are trying to get off the planet or whatever. And so Reva is about to get Obi-Wan, and then the Grand Inquisitor is like, stop this. I am better than you. I want to have all the credit. I want Mr. Obi-Wan. You have no right. And then Reva's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just kill you. So she stabs the Grand Inquisitor with her spinny frisbee lightsaber, and
Yeah.
it goes after Obi-Wan. So
Hers looks like it's half a circle though.
really,
I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it might not spin. Hopefully.
Might not spin.
Um.
The Grand Inquisitor does spin his lightsaber at one point.
Yes, and it looks like he really gets that guy. That
Yeah.
he spun his lightsaber.
He sure does.
Yeah. Quick side note for people who don't know, Reva, the third sister, is a character from the video game Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm.
And I believe it's the same actress who did the mocap and voice acting in the game. This game takes place after this show, so bummer there.
The game Fallen Order takes place after Obi-Wan?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think so.
Could be. I would not know.
I'm trying to remember because the Jedi you play as is like late teens, and he was a pretty young kid when Order 66 went down.
Sure.
So, right around a similar time, I would say. She's out there hunting for Jedi, trying to get the favor of Darth Vader, who is alive.
Yes. I guess I never really realized that Obi-Wan didn't know that Anakin survived, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the third sister, Reva, she tells Obi-Wan, like, oh, you didn't know. Anakin is alive, and he has this kind of crisis where he's like, oh, that's not good.
And it was
Anakin's
very well
alive.
acted. You could see it in his eyes. You know,
he's a great actor.
Yeah, Ewan.
Great dude.
Splendid stuff.
So what do you think? What do you expect from the rest of this?
Gosh,
we got 4 episodes left. We're already 2 episodes in. What's gonna happen?
Well, we are gonna. They escaped there at the end of the first episode, or the second episode, I should say.
Yep.
I can see it being like the rest of the show is just about getting back to Alderaan.
Yep.
And the problems that come with that.
Yeah.
But we also have to have 2 lightsaber fights with Darth Vader, apparently.
Yeah. He's going to have some altercation with Vader at some point.
Yeah, so...
Which makes me think that the Leia story might wrap up pretty quick, because Anakin's not supposed to know that he has a daughter, right?
True.
So he can't find out in this show.
Yeah.
So something else has to be going on.
At the very least, he may know that it's Leia Organa, but not his daughter.
Oh, sure. That's fair. Yeah.
Because he knows who she is in episode 4.
Yeah.
But...
That's true. That's true.
Who can say?
Nah. Who can say?
Do
you think we're going to see some Qui-Gon in this show? They keep mentioning him, so I think he might show up.
They put it in the little fun recap of the prequels, where they talked about how Qui-Gon figured out how to be a ghost, Force ghost of sorts, and he talks to him 2 times, and no response. I think it wouldn't be far-fetched to get a quick Liam Neeson voiceover.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it happens for sure.
Yeah, I know Liam Neeson has been like, yeah, I'll play Qui-Gon again if they want me to. So
yeah.
he might show up as a Force ghost. I don't know.
I would be absolutely hyped for that because
pretty cool.
The only other time I've seen him as a Force ghost that I can recall is in one of the drawn Clone Wars from like 2003 or whatever. That's probably too far long ago, but It was a while ago. Those old animations.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um, we kind of missed it a little bit in episode 2. There is a fake Jedi guy
Oh
who
yeah, dude.
pretends to be a Jedi using magnets and stuff, clever
Yeah.
tricks, to steal credits from people while saving their lives. Basically, played by Kumail Nanjiani, who is a
Yeah.
great comedian and a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Thoughts
A
on
welcome addition.
his humor in this episode, second episode.
I think, yeah, I don't know if it fits super well with Star Wars. I think they were just like, okay, Kumail, do your shtick, be a Jedi, and he did it. And he does it well, but like, I don't know. It was never. I was the whole time. It was like that's Kumail Nanjiani. Like,
Yeah.
it does take you out of it a little bit. Like, oh look, he's in Star Wars. Cool.
And he's been tweeting like crazy about how he's like,
Yeah.
Star Wars, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think it's cool.
yeah, I
But-
kind of fear that he's gonna show up more.
Yeah.
Which I mean, ultimately, I am pro Kumail. Like that's awesome. He's great. But like you said, this is kind of like the dark PTSD show where we're gonna
Yeah.
have Obi-Wan like really struggle with his identity now that he's like this hermit guy, but he's got to deal with the real world again and might see his fallen apprentice. And then we have Kumail being Kumail. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is funny, but should it be here? And you know,
Right.
the argument can always be made that Star Wars is for kids. But I was those kids, and I'm an adult now. So make me adult TV, please. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's a horrible thing. I
Sure.
just, it kind of, there is a tonal
Hope.
shift.
Yeah. I hope he's not in it too much where it becomes a distraction.
Yeah.
From what we want to see, which is Obi-Wan. I did have like when it spends a lot of time in Alderaan with Leia. At first I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. I'm not sure I like this. Can I see more Obi-Wan, please, in my Obi-Wan show? But I think it panned out pretty well.
I think it works. I will say there's a quick chase scene with the kidnappers on Alderaan, and this little girl outpaces these full-grown adults
Yeah.
and navigates through this forest. And like, sure, she knows the forest, I guess, right? They show her running out there
Yeah.
a bunch of times, but like,
It's a really funny
these
scene.
trained bounty hunters are
Because they're just like running at child
yeah,
speed.
they're
just
jogging like, oh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, and then they're
Yeah.
like, they're tripping over nothing. There's like
Yeah.
a stick in her path one time, and she ducks under it, and
She's just
one
like,
of the kidnappers is like, I'll go around. Like you couldn't hop over that thing and
Yeah.
like tackle her or something. But
Mm-hmm.
they capture her, they get away with it, it's fine. But it just like, it was very obvious that they could have caught her immediately, and they just
Yeah,
had to make the
exactly.
chase scene longer for some
Have
reason.
a little chase scene. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was weird. It works in the second episode when she's running from Obi-Wan in the super crowded city space, and she's ducking
Yeah.
in between a ton of people and buildings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like, yeah, okay. And Obi-Wan can't expose himself.
Sure.
So that's like, it's fine. But when they're in the big wide forest and she somehow manages to almost escape is kind of comical.
Yeah.
I thought.
It's kind of funny.
But yeah, so that's,
It's whatever.
yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Obi-Wan. And we can't believe we're here. It's so exciting. It's so grand. It's so great.
Yeah. I do kind of fear some Star Wars fatigue for people. I think because they have so many shows coming up, and we got Mandalorian season 3 and Andor and Ahsoka and I think they're building up to like a Thrawn type show where all of the storylines converge and Avengers Endgame, the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just like, I'm here for it. I like Star Wars a lot,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I really like what Obi-Wan is doing at the moment.
I think we started off strong for sure.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So I have hope. So
Hope, a new one.
classic
new
Star
hope.
Wars. Hope. Anything else to say about Obi-Wan? Are we good? I had some recommendations between Tuesday and today. So
yeah, I think we've started off strong. It's sad that we got 2 episodes right away, and there's only 4 more. It's like bummer. But I mean, it seems to be good. So hopefully it continues on the trend. And we have nothing but high praise to give this show, because that's all I want, you know? I want a good Star Wars show.
Yeah.
What else do you have recommending here?
They just released on Disney Plus, they've been releasing kind of it's called Marvel Assembled, I think, where they release documentaries of like the making of like Eternals, Shang-Chi, and they just released the making of Moon Knight documentary. So I'm like in the middle of watching that.
I see.
Really cool. Definitely recommend if you're interested in. I really like the documentary on all the Disney Plus shows. Like the WandaVision documentary is really good. Talking about like how they did all the like sitcom things and all of that. So the Moon Knight documentary is really cool. Just like hearing Oscar Isaac talk about like his method of like how he plays Steven and Mark and the directors and their conversation about how it all worked out. Super interesting, super cool.
Sweet.
Are you a Stranger Things fan? Because season 4 starts today, or it was released today.
I have seen it all. I like the first season a lot.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, right? Okay. I'm not a horror guy. I don't really like scary stuff aside from The Shining. And so I was like, I heard there were big monsters and scary lights. I'm going to pass on this when it first came out. And then season 2 came out, and one of my coworkers said, like, dude, it's so good. And I was like, I trust this guy's opinion. So I watched the first 2 seasons within 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I was pretty hype on it. It was pretty good. I've kind of grown, matured a little bit, and like can separate reality from media. So it was a little bit easier. No nightmares or anything like that.
Not as scary.
Yeah.
Sure.
Season 2 isn't super great. Season 3 I thought was pretty good with the Russians and stuff. That was fun.
Yeah.
So I'll watch season 4 for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. We probably won't cover it extensively on the podcast, but we'll when I watch it, I'll be like, it was good or it was bad, and whatever. So
it'll get the
that's happening.
Twins seal of approval, or not.
Yeah. Well, art or fart. Yeah. Is it art or is it fart? We'll see.
We can do that at the very least.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay. Episode 9.
Episode 9. Obi-Wan. I Am Legend. It's all there.
Yes.
It's all real.
Thanks to Bryan Zerr.
Yeah, thank you, Bryan Zerr, for coming on the podcast. Thank you, Obi-Wan, for existing.
Yes.
And we will see you guys next week for Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 1.
Woo!
It's very exciting.
Yes.
We
We're
cannot
hype.
wait. I watched Avengers last night. I got some things to say. I got some feelings.
Dang, dude.
And,
so we're gonna we haven't had extensive conversations, so we're gonna talk about Phase 1. So that's the first 5 movies. We're gonna kind of give our basic review of each movie, right? And then we're gonna rank them within that phase.
Oh.
And so I think,
I didn't know about the ranking. But
potentially.
That could be fun.
Yeah. And then, so we'll do that with each phase, in June, and at the end, after we cover all the phases, we'll do a lightning round, 1 to 30, whatever,
Yeah.
best to worst or worst to best ranking. So it's gonna be fun. Marvel
exciting.
Cinematic G Universe.
We got a huge document prepared, and it's completely unfilled. So we have not
It
filled
definitely
out.
is.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll do some more research. We'll be a little bit more prepared before then.
I've been watching the movies, but I
yeah,
haven't been taking
I've been getting
notes.
back into it.
Mm.
There are no bad Marvel movies. All right. That's a lie.
Well,
I'm lying.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, YouTube viewers, for watching and commenting. I see you in the comments. I'm there. 100% reply rate. All right.
We're there.
Yeah. With that being said, we're done. This is Quarter Twins. Again, last word. All right.
Bye.